Okay, so what the woman is actually explaining there is that, they have money, but they can't use that money. The money is not being used because it's been, rejected as we speak right now. So that is part of what is going on as we speak right now as well. But one thing is, more Nigerians are becoming more angry with the current spark of thing that is going on. And that is actually going on in somewhere known as in Abeokuta Expressway, literally in between the border of Ogun State as well. Let's listen a little bit more to her. So they're complaining that, this sufferness is just too much for them. They are not able to cope with it anymore. Let's listen one more time before I come to you again in the studio. Okay, so why is it that it is now that the Yoruba are also contesting as Bola Tinubu, and that is when these, bringing of a new currency is currently taking place? Why now is the question. So that actually is is happening. Let me now take you again to another area where, as I said, there's another more protest going on, and this is the audio from that. So in this footage that you cannot see, they are literally removing all the poster that belongs to the governor of Ogun State, Abiodun, and that is going on as well. So let me take you again to Ibadan, where the governor of Oyo State was literally blocked from not going as he was moving out this morning from his office. So this is all that is happening, and likewise, almost the same area, but this time around is not the Yoruba people that call it protest or a rally, but in Ojota also, it was a total shutdown, and it is now confrontation between the military and also the Nigerians in that particular axis of Lagos State. So that is the spark of things going on, with the multiple reportage coming all the way from our sister broadcast back home in Nigeria this morning.
Wow, listeners, today, as I said, is the 17th. So let's say we've got 7 days and some hours and some minutes and some seconds counting down to the big day. But would it happen? Would it happen? That is a question on the lips of most people. With the agitation that is going on at the moment, people, they're trying not getting their own money. They're not getting their own money. And when you're going to buy something, you cannot actually use the old currency because people don't want to accept it, though the president went on the state media to make a recorded statement saying that, look, we will extend the usage of the old currency, that is it the 50 or the 200? Yes, Naira, until a couple of months, giving them a couple of months. But the 1,000 and the 500, we need to take it to the central bank. And we did ask the question yesterday, how many central banks are there? And they say that every state has got a central bank. But how many people have got the 1,000 and the 500? How can they present it to the central bank for them to actually get that money? And are people going to be checked how you got your money? Well. Now, El-Rufai is saying that, he reckons that they are going to just get on with it. They are just going to make sure that he stays. They just use the same old currency. So what is all that?
Well, in the last couple of weeks, we have seen between El-Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State, and also Ganjude, that are now speaking out. It seems that, according to both the governor of Kano State and the governor of Kaduna State, that there is now evidence that this particular government is trying to destabilize the election that is about to take place. So when we look at what Ganjude, the governor, is saying, he says, and I quote, "Buhari has achieved nothing in 8 years, determined to destroy APC before leaving." This is actually coming from, those that are close to President Muhammadu Buhari. And the question is, how did we get to where internal problem is now happening between, both the Kano State and likewise, the president. Kano Governor Abdullahi Ganduje yesterday said President Muhammadu Buhari did not achieve anything throughout his 8 years in the office, and is now determined to ruin the All Progressive Congress APC before leaving the office. Let's look at what El Rufai is also saying this morning. Quite a lot is going on, as we are following all this development, as the riot is spreading quickly, both in Ogun State and Lagos State. Rivers State was also, I'm getting reported coming from Rivers State that is also coming. El Rufai, as we know, is a very, and we see if we can get a soundtrack of what El Rufai, the governor the governor of Kaduna State, is also saying this morning, and according to report. El Rufai also believed that it seems that there is going to be a coup. We've been talking about this for some time, but this is what he had to say in an interview he granted. El Rufai had to say this.
On behalf of the Kaduna State government, I wish to assure you that none of you will lose the money you have in all notes. Let no artificial or illegal deadline frighten you, whether you live in towns.
Okay, let me explain what El Rufai is saying there. El Rufai has literally now confronted the president, Muhammadu Buhari, coming out yesterday, after the president spoke at about 7 o'clock in the morning to Nigerians. El Rufai says, as citizens in Kaduna State, you still have the right to continue spending that money, regardless of whatever the president is saying, because they believe that the president now is not listening to the rule of law. But this same rule of law was not listened to when the court actually says Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that was kidnapped and rendition back to Nigeria, has been acquitted of the 15 count. Also, the court also says Chief Dr. Sunday Igboho should be paid back some money for the assassination and the damage of his property to the tune of 20 billion. It now seems that the system is fighting back within the internal. Let's listen more to what El Rufai has to say.
Villages with isolated rural communities do not feel stampeded to deposit your old notes into the banks. Hold on to them. Continue to use them as legal tender as ordered by the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
Okay, so he says continue to use that legal tender, which Buhari says is no longer a legal tender. If you have such with you, please take it back to the to the CBN when you have. And we have been seeing Nigerians obeying. Yesterday we saw in the northern part of Nigeria, somebody took 50 million old Naira note, and when he was asked, why have you actually left it too late? He said, well, I still have more in my warehouse up to the tune of 1 billion Naira. Starr Radio UK, it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, as it is 17th day, as is now a couple of more days before the election. This time next week, we will just be under 24 hours to go into that election. Is it now that Buhari wants to scuttle, as the Afenifere says, do not attempt to bring an interim government? We will not allow that. We will reject that. But the president says, I just don't want the money to be used, for vote buying. That is why I have recolored the money. And whoever is still having that large sum of money, take it to the CBN. And that is the only way you can change the money now.
Well, listeners, interesting times. Now, when he was running for his presidency, his second term, or even the first term, when they had monies, we were talking about the fact that a whole billion pound went to Tinubu's house. It was in Tinubu's house. The other time, Tinubu was saying that, well, the driver missed the way to where he was going, so they had to come to his house for direction. I don't know whether direction to his bedroom or his warehouse. Not sure about that. But for some of them thinking that now this is something that has been going on, and the president is aware of it, and maybe have taken advantage of that, and seeing that this time around, the people are going to use the same thing, his own people are going to use the same thing to outwit others. He said that, well, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I've changed the money, and this is the order. But looking at the states, we have Lagos State. I don't know what Lagos State are going to do, and I don't know what other states are going to do. So if their leaders are giving different instructions, do you mean to say that if somebody who is a trader, who has to travel to the north to maybe go and buy yam, or maybe go and buy cattle from there to bring to the south, what money, what currency are they going to be trading in?
Well, that is if they have the currency in hand in the first place. I mean, if you're traveling to Kaduna, you are likely to spend the old Naira note. But as we speak right now in Lagos State, I've seen, from few petrol stations, that a video that has been sent to me, those petrol stations are rejecting, the old Naira note, but even the new Naira note is not available. I mean, you can do bank transfer, which is exactly what the system wants, a cashless society. But the network is sometimes difficult to, to operate. So that means that, even if I wanted to buy, just a slice of bread, which we do here, you can easily just, under £1, you can still allow your car to go through. But in Nigeria, those selling the bread have now got at the back of their bank details. So do you now send I don't know, about 1,000 naira, which is just about almost £1. A pound today is about almost 935 naira. So if I'm going to buy the bread, then you would have to pay charges to the bank as well. So the bank is taking charges from both sides. So as you send the money, I am paying 35 naira on top of the 1,000 naira. The seller as well has to pay 35 naira to the bank as well. This is a chaotic situation. And the question, I saw a video from Libya, and the woman was saying that in the last 5 years, they have been spending the whole Libya money in the old one and the new one parallel to each other. Not just one domination, we're talking about 3 domination as well. The question Nigerians are asking is, why now, towards the election, why not just allow those 2 currencies to run parallel, which is the reason why they've gone to the court. Buhari rejected that. He says, I will give extension of 60 days, to the 200 naira, but I will not tolerate you to continue to spend the 500 naira note and the 1,000. 2 governors now are adamant, and they are fighting back to say, in their state, you will continue to spend that money, and it's still a legal tender.
Wow. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. The question is, who is in charge of Nigeria now? That's the question. Is it the president? Is it the governors of the various states? Or is it the governor of the CBA? Who is actually in charge? Will the election go 8 days on? Or 7 days plus on? Well. A new poll, opinion poll has shown, have come out to say that Tinubu is now going to be winning the election. I don't know where, but there is the Nigerian Human Rights Community poll that is saying that Tinubu is going to win the election. I don't know how true, how that is, especially when he's also crying, shouting that with everything that is going on. Because if Nigerians are seeing what is happening now, the pain that they are going through just to access their own money, then why would they want to vote for that same government that did that for them? Yomi.
Well, you're quite right. As a different poll will be coming up with different, statistics. Yes, the human rights community poll is tipping that Tinubu, will go through with the presidential election, according to, the update. A new poll that has been conducted by the Nigerian Human Rights Community, NHRC, consisting of 134 organizations, has tipped the presidential candidate of the All Progressive, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, to win the February 25th, 2023 general election if all goes as planned. But the question then is, the group at the briefing address is Secretary General Taiwo Adeleye in Lagos yesterday, where it released its poll. Also, a lot of people have also suggested that even the poll that is favoring Peter Obi seems to be tickling, and the reason for that is, some of those that are putting this poll have not been honest, because some of them have probably had one engagement before this election with, these presidential aspirants. So, but what we do know is, it was released yesterday, and it's projected that Tinubu will win based on the analysis of the preference of 19,000 person that is research poll. Remember, 19,000 is just a very small number when you talk about a whole country with 206 million. 19,000, I think when I look at some of my listeners on Starr Radio UK, I guess we can do a poll among us, and we can definitely say who wants a Yoruba nation, and be rest assured every one of them is going to say they want a Yoruba nation, but that does not literally mean that every Yoruba person around the world subjected to a Yoruba nation.
Very true, very true. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London, Quality 11:30, and it is the update from Nigeria that we are bringing your way. Now, with fighting that has erupted in some areas in the popular Lagos-Ikorodu Expressway in Lagos State over the scarcity of the new Naira notes and the hardship policy that has been thrown, Nigerians have been thrown into. What are the police doing? Are they being just careful not to? Because people are angry. People are hungry, angry, and I mean, virtually think that their lives are being, brought to an end. So, what are the police doing?
Well, reinforcement has gone to that area. I mean, I was listening to, and that is the particular area where twice that the Yoruba have done a rally. Ojota is a very, very important axis. It's just like the entering into the Lagos state. And it also has, the Ganifawa Emi, is an activist, a lawyer that was also, eventually, fighting for the human right of so many Nigerians. So it's a very, very key strategic area. It's also, leading to a Mai 12 market that is a very, very important market that has been around. So whenever rally or protest always comes up, it comes up within that axis as well. But I can say that, according to, fighting erupt in some areas on the popular Lagos-Ikorodu Expressway, Lagos State, over the scarcity of the new Naira note. And the Archie policy has thrown to Nigeria this morning. This is going on in Mai 12, K2 and Ojota area, and the express took to the road. But reinforcement has gone there, according to, David Odoye, the public, Benjamin Odoye, I apologize, the public relation officer for the Lagos State. We know that it is not just in that area anymore now. It is springing up also to other states, and the question still boils back into the new Naira note. Even Jigawa is saying that in their state, the old Naira note is still a legal tender, and you can continue to spend it.
Now, let's talk about the insecurity, then I can hand over to you. Information coming through is saying that now herdsmen killed over 654 attacks on Benue community in 11 years. That is the number of people who have been killed. Now, the forum of Chioshin academics in Borno State has stated that over 600 people in the ethnic extraction have been killed in 54 attacks in 10 council wards of Makurdi, West local government area of the state, in separate communities. Now, the question is, how secure are the people there? And are they going to even go out to go and vote at all?
Well, Benue State has been one of the most hit part of the country. Not just Benue State, but because it has a very, very close border, up to the other side as well. And, and I'm just taking you back to 2021 report. Governor Autumn's attack House of Reps call for investigation of claims by the Fulani National Movement. This was the audio clip of 2021, and you can imagine 3 years down the line, it is still the same problem in that particular area.
Of the nation. Nigeria's House of Representatives has asked the Department of State Services and the Nigerian Police to investigate the attacks on Governor Samuel Otom of Benue State and the claims of responsibility and threats allegedly attributed to Fulani National Movement. The lawmakers called on Nigerians to be law-abiding and keep faith in indivisibility, unity, sovereignty of the nation.
The lawmakers are worried by the inflammatory statements attributed to one Umar Shehu and the Fulani National Movement, who declared publicly their intention to kill Governor Samuel Otom.
I mean, this is the state of things. If a sitting governor is being threatened, this audio clip that we are playing right now is far back to 2021, and you will expect that the President, General Muhammadu Buhari, retired, should have at least done something. But up till today, Governor Otom is still facing similar problem. This is Governor Otom also speaking in some few, almost 2021. Let's listen a little bit for 30 seconds.
As terrorist organization. And they have gone for that to form Mietiala, Katahore, Mietiala, Katu Breeders, Mietiala, this one, Funam, that one. And federal government is romancing with them. And federal government goes out to defend them. Anything time something happens to them, but when they cause pains in the lives of other people, federal government will keep quiet. Federal government have gone ahead to ban iPod. Why can't they ban? What did iPod do that they went ahead and banned them? This one, the Fulanis are taking over everywhere. under the watch of the presidency, and they're not saying anything. What is the meaning of that? What are they trying to say? When you talk, they will come after you. Some people are afraid in this country to talk because if they come, EFCC will come after them. ICPC will come after them. Security agencies will come after them. They did that to me. And I went to court against them and I won. They did that to me. They tried to impeach me.
And that is, Governor Autumn, and nothing seems to change. So the question then is, that you were asking is, are they going to vote in favor of the APC in Benue State? It is going to be 50-50, because already in the last 8 years, Benue State, under this presidency, have neglected, citizens under the attack of the Fulani terrorists killing innocent in that particular state.
Wow. Now, listen, it's 11:35. Now, let me, Mobolaji Abdullahi says, good morning, Mr. Archie, and good morning, my brother, Olayomi Koiki, the king, media of Yoruba land. God bless you. Jumat Mubarak to your team. All right, then. Thank you very much. Now, just digressing a bit. Now, should it happen that the APC, any government comes in, so that we know that it's not that the president, so Tinubu, let's say Tinubu wins, it's not from the north. What do you think is going to happen to the Fulani people? Or, let's say, Peter Obi wins. What is going to happen to them? What do you reckon?
Well, the job of any government is to make sure that lives and property of its citizens or our citizens are well protected. When Buhari was coming in, he guaranteed that he will protect whether you voted him or not. He will make sure that, all Nigerians are well looked after. The economy has become drained. It's about almost 22% in terms of inflation. Nigeria still remains the capital poverty of the world, the number 6 when it comes to the global terrorism index. Should any of the 3 of the political party wins, after the election next week, then they would have a lot to deal with. We will have to deal with not just the economy that is already gone in drain. They would also have to deal with the insecurity that has also sparked around the whole country. We do know that each one of them has, representative, from the north. So let's take a look at Tinubu. Tinubu is playing, the Muslim ticket that a lot of people have rejected. His candidacy, is a Muslim. Himself is a Muslim. The vice president is a Muslim. Shetima has harbored one of the, criminal terrorists in his house. And it was during the Shetima that we saw bring back our girls that were, eventually kidnapped in Borno State. Let's take a look at Peter Obi. Peter Obi is taking Dati as his vice president also from the north. So again, maybe they can use their influence, to suppress, these reasons. What is the reason why we are having terrorism activities in Nigeria? And when you look at Atiku himself is a Fulani man, and also with the with Okowa, coming from the southeast. So it is a bit balanced, but Kwankwaso is still the former governor of Kano State. He has a big stake, and he might be splitting the vote between Atiku and Tinubu in the north. Are we going to see a rerun should the election go ahead, or are we going to see an inconclusive, or are we going to see what we can call the unexpected turbulence after the election next week, Saturday?
Well, what do you expect? And what do you want to see? Peru says, good morning, everyone. Peru, I hope you are doing very, very well. Thank you very much for joining us. It is Starr Radio UK. 11:38 the time. Mr. Olayomi Koiki on North London Studios. I'm Archie here in the South Studios. We're bringing you updates from Nigeria. At this juncture, let me go to Yomi for you to bring you the rest of the stories and what is happening on the social media platform as well. Over to you, Yomi.
Thank you so much. And again, this is the Friday edition of the Starr Radio UK. The most important pressure that is going on in Nigeria right now is the Naira scarcity. And it's bringing a lot of confusion. Protest has already erupted in Rivers State over the Naira scarcity. Naira redesign is a plot to scuttle election and install interim government. This is coming from those that are closer to the to the government than some of us that are just sitting almost 6,000 miles away from Nigeria. This is coming from El Rufai, the governor of Kaduna State. Professor, the leader of the social cultural group, Afenifere, have actually said, and I quote, that President Buhari should not attempt to install interim government and force that on Nigerians. A lot of people have said that the election should go ahead, but those that are also saying that the election is not the only way, it cannot solve the problem. Better days aren't coming soon, despite disappointment after Buhari's address is also one of the headlines. Taraba aspirant is suing APC over contented of court. And likewise, let's take a look at the other headlines and then we go straight. The UK government is still saying that there are fears of post-election violence. So already, there will be a lot of contingency from different embassies, especially the American, the US, to see, what will be the outcome of what is going to be one of the most fought election that we've ever seen. And likewise, one of the most defending part of the indigenous people from the Yorubas and the Middle Belt and the Biafrans that are saying that whatever it takes, elections should not be holding right now. Dissolution of Nigeria should be on the table. But the UK says that the UK fears post-election violence in Nigeria and again is reinstating that politicians will be banned with visa. The Yorubas are saying that that is more than enough. That is not enough, from the UK government, and the American government to say that we are going to ban the politician. I mean, if they can't come to UK, they can travel to any other countries because the UK doesn't have what it takes to stop politicians from traveling to Dubai or any other country. But the UK believes that that is going to be a deterrent for election violence or post-election. So we will continue to monitor that. And likewise, Tinubu asks governors to ignore Buhari's order and enforce use of the old Naira note nationwide. This is now becoming Tinubu versus President Muhammadu Buhari. Tinubu asks governors to ignore President. I mean, he's not yet the president, but he's already giving orders as a president, and that is going to be a very, very big one. Disregard Buhari's directive. All old Naira notes remain legal tender in Kaduna, El-Rufai declared. The governor has challenged the mighty of Buhari-led federal government in a statewide broadcast that he gave in the night. Buhari did his one in the morning, and he has already challenged Buhari as well. As the Biafra are also preparing, for sit down at home, Simon Ekpa continue just as the Yorubas as well. Continue as well. Also, as the Yorubas are moving forward, we have been told again to disregard anything coming out of, Chief Mrs. Modukponitiri that she has actually come to destroy, and also working for some of those politicians, according to Professor Adebanji Akintoye, that anything that's got to do with her should be totally disregarded because she has come to scuttle the movement. Federal government is trending, and as you can tell, the reason why federal government is trending is it seems that as the citizens are battling with the federal government on the street of almost every part of Nigeria, the governors are also battling with the same federal government. The First Lady of Nigeria is also trending this morning. And likewise, we now look at one or two things on the social media. Simon Ekpa is still trending at about 35,000 tweets. Remember that, some Nigerians are forge what we can call, it's quite to the extent of forging the government of Finland letter to say that they are going to arrest Simon Ekpa. But it was a good thing that the Finland government came out quickly to debunk such. And if anybody has come across such letter, please debunk that as well. Also, Simon Ekpa has actually responded back again to the Onhaise Indigbo proposed for peaceful summit. And this is what he had to say in a statement that came out today. Our attention has been drawn to the proposal made by the Onhaise Indigbo for peace summit, where they claim they will invite Simon Ekpa to be part of the peace summit in Nigeria. And likewise, as we know, bear with me, let's see if we can get it out from here, because that is something that we can read out, and then I'm going to come back straight to you in the studio. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK, and it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. So again, it seems that more of those leaders are now trying to engage in what we can call a peace. And yes, the remaining part is we are putting on Heinze on a notice not to waste their time, but to start preparing to bring something to the table for the formation of Biafra transitional government. If not, all they have the interest of Indigbo at heart. our main priority is to release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, preventing Nigeria from conducting election in Biafra territory. I will never be part of any meeting that is not to discuss on the date and how to conduct the referendum for the Biafra people. And when the time comes for such discussion, it will be in Finland. I am not coming to Nigeria. My next trip to Africa will be to Biafra. Ohainze must stop being afraid of the terrorist Fulani government and speak like men. We will drag Ohainze to the freedom this year. Just as the Yoruba continue their engagement as well in a peaceful manner, as has been said by Professor Adebanjo Akintoye, that in Yoruba land, election is not a solution, and the last thing to now be talking about is to bring to the dialogue as well, where in that letter that was sent to the president in August, remember that that letter contained to say that we can have a dialogue somewhere outside Nigeria where we can discuss the future of Nigeria and the future of the indigenous people. Starr Radio UK, it is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I'll slightly come back now to you in the studio to wind the program down. But remember that the weekend is still on Starr Radio UK, where you can listen to all the programs. But for now, let me come back to you, Mr. Archie.
Well, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koike and North London Studios. Let me acknowledge Aziz Beresari. He says, good morning, brother Koike, Mr. Archie, and the rest of the team. We salute you, sir. Thank you very much to all of you, those of you on the YouTube, and many of you there, those of you on the Facebook, and all the sister broadcast station platforms that we are broadcasting on. We actually acknowledge you, and we thank you so much for what you do. Now, Yomi, just two things, and then we can run up. Now, I would think that it would be very foolish for Samuel Ekpa to travel to Nigeria. No way would I ever advise him to do so. He should never. I know he's been on the program before. I know he has listened as well. I don't think it's wise. No matter what, even if they say President Buhari is meeting, he should never go. Never. Unless he's going with the UN Secretary General.
Well, even some Yorubas and some Biafra don't trust the UN as much of that, even though we can't say that. But because the Deputy General Secretary, according to what we know, is from Nigeria and from the Fulani extract as well. Aminat.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting.
So the only way it's got to be to have such meeting in the UN building in New York.
Well, listeners, this interesting time. What has MFL said so far about the Naira? And it has come out to say
I saw him yesterday, and he stated that the bank should not take any more money. Anybody that has large deposit should be taking it to the CBN. So he's still adamant, following the same procedure as his boss, the President Muhammadu Buhari, that is currently at Addis Ababa for the AU meeting.
This is a total confusion that is going on. My goodness. Well, listeners, continue to enjoy the program. But Yomi will have to take leave. Over the weekend, what activities are there planned?
Well, as usual, over the weekend, the Global Directorate have been having their meeting. I think it's going to be about almost 100 and something. That is going to be going on. A lot of more awareness, engagement, and we're going to be monitoring the situation on the ground. And we always say to those on the ground, your safety and security is important. But in a situation like this, you never know what Nigeria can happen to you. So we pray that Nigeria doesn't happen to anyone before we come back on Monday morning. But Starr Radio UK has got the weekend for you from all the programs running through. I will be joining again on Monday by God's grace. But for now, I say have a very good morning and bye for now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olayomi Koike, and we'll catch up later.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, it is the Starr Radio UK Friday edition of the morning show. We say here, your weekend starts from here. And that's exactly what it's.
I'm going to go now because I'm quite a little bit busy this morning. I've got our later the proper program. Bye for now.